Good evening and welcome to the Town of Douglas Planning Board meeting for Thursday, July 28th, 2022. Time is 7:03 p.m. First item on the agenda is reorganization. We do have a full board.
Yep.
Richard Preston.
Oh, okay.
He's our new associate member.
Okay.
Oh, I get to sit at the table, Ernie?
Already.
Yes.
All right.
Come join us.
Actually, before we start business, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Selectman
Oh,
Ortiz.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Will be missed. Okay, so reorganization. You ready to roll on that? So I will open nominations for chairperson.
I'll make Tracy Shockey.
I'll second.
Okay, any other nominations? Chair. Okay, motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Schlesman, did you hear what the motion was? Okay. All right, and I'll entertain motions for vice chair.
Do you accept?
Yes.
Isn't that a question that has to be said?
I'd like to nominate Jake.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mike, seconded by Aaron. Any other nominations for vice chair? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I accept.
Okay, all right. All right. Citizens forum call to public comment. Anyone in the audience have any public comment online or present? Seeing none. We have A&R Shore Road, Douglas Properties. Is anyone presenting on behalf of that item? We have a memo from the Community Development Director. Plan is to alter 3 lots by creating 2 new conforming building lots and 1 non-buildable lot. The A&R also eliminates drainage easements that are no longer required as part of a defunct and expired subdivision plan, which is now occupied by a solar array north of the subject properties. Plan meets all of the requirements of the subdivision regulations. You want to give an overview of the plan?
Yes, it does. All we need is your signature.
What?
Do you have the Mylar there?
Yes.
Yeah, this is just a redivision of a lot division that was done some years ago. When the subdivision was abandoned, built a solar field, you have to reconfigure the lines to sort of straighten things out. So this just cleans up the loose ends from that abandonment, basically.
Board, do we have any questions or concerns on the A&R?
What does Matt say? Oh, Matt.
I'll entertain a motion to endorse the A&R plan for Shore Road.
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Mr. Marks, second by
Second.
Mr. Greco. All those in favor? If we could do a roll call, please, because
Yeah.
Ms. Flashman is on.
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Swicker, aye.
Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Meg Schlesman, aye.
All right, thank you. That'll be ready tomorrow. Pick it up.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. See you, Henry.
See you, Henry.
Next item is the A&R for Birch Street. We have some comments. The plan is to adjust the center line of 2 existing lots under common ownership for the purpose of future single-family home construction. The plan meets all the requirements of the subdivision regulations. Anyone here on behalf of this item for Birch Street?
The engineer's here?
Okay, so we're not creating any new lots, it's just it's an adjustment of the lot line. So you see the old line and the new.
Check and check. Area, frontage fine.
I'll entertain a motion to endorse the plan for Birch Street.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Schlossberg,
Second.
Tongue twister there.
seconded by Mr. Sokrat. All those in favor?
Roll call. Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Swicker, aye.
Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Meg Schlesman, aye.
We have that to sign. Next, public hearing continued from June 30th, 2022, Pine Sand and Stone, we're doing sand and gravel, application for earth removal permit, 1 Lackey Dam Road, possible votes. We have in our packet the peer review letter as well as a response from the director. Peer review site walk was conducted on Tuesday, July 19th. Jeff Walsh of Graves Engineering shall review his findings with the board via Zoom. I defer to the board on its issuance of any waivers and for its knowledge of truck traffic and construction hours, as conditions should reflect the peer reviewers' comments and the conditions of the previous earth removal permit. Is Jeff Walsh available?
Good evening, Madam Chairman.
Oh,
I figured I'd show up in
welcome.
person.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome. Nice
Yeah,
to
show
see
up.
you.
Thank you, good to see you as well. I think this is the first time I've been here in front of the board in person. I know I've been on screen many times. I did issue a letter on July 25th. Quite frankly, I didn't have any major issues, except that the plan showed earth removal also in Uxbridge. And I understand that's the applicant's overall intent is to possibly at some point obtain a permit and do some earth removal in Uxbridge. But nevertheless, this board here only has to stop at the town line. I did receive late today from Gary and Helen a response letter to my comments and a revised plan. I took the liberty to at least take a look at it before tonight's meeting, and quite frankly, they added a second plan that shows earth removal in the proposed grades only within Douglas. So now I understand how the berm between Lackey Dam Road and the town line will be left in place until they go forward with their permitting in the other community. And there were a few other things with respect to temporary stormwater basin, a monitoring well, and so on and so forth. Those two have been addressed. But going back to our review letter, again, they were fairly minor comments in nature, but nevertheless, things that I felt needed to be addressed.
Okay. So when you speak about the berm at the town lines, if they receive approval from Uxbridge, is there an alternate plan of approval stating that it's going to be down to grade, what the proposed grade is for both sides?
Yes, that's the plan they originally submitted,
Yeah.
and they did revise it to address my other comments, as well as add that second sheet that shows no grading into Uxbridge. So yes, there's a two-plan set. One includes earth removal in both communities.
So I'd like to capture that condition as long as they receive their approvals in Uxbridge, they are able to earth remove down to that proposed grade.
That's, yes, I agree. I think it's worthy of a condition in the permit that kind of spells it out a little more clearly as to what the intention was. Besides that, when I walked the site, and I was with Murray Bristol and Andy Leonard, they took me around the site. And my understanding is there's already an earth removal permit there. I wasn't aware of that. There's earth removal activities going on. My understanding was before you, it essentially keeps the outer limits of what was permitted. It's a lowering of the floor, if you will, to better align with proposed development project that includes the road that ran along the west side of the.
Yeah, the 4 pound.
Is it updated?
Okay.
Good going.
I'm talking about.
No, I was just going to note for your benefit, Madam Chair, and for the board, that I usually have a standard condition when you have something that's contingent upon a permit you haven't seen yet. And it's just in case there's any sort of dissonance between the two or anything happens and the other hearing process that creates a conflict or something unforeseen. So it gives you a chance to pull it back and take another look at it just so you can harmonize the conditions. Probably not in this case, but just in case, they issue some condition or ask for a change of the plan or something like that. and it may change something on your side, so you may want to just take another look at it. So it's really a boilerplate condition that I can give to your director, and he can plug it in if that's your will. It's just to make sure that the plan you approve and the plan they approve ultimately dovetail together.
Yeah, so it's essentially we're approving two pages in the plan set
Right.
at this moment as an entirety.
Assuming
And
they're
if
going to approve the same
there
thing.
Yeah, so as far as construction hours and those types of things, traffic, and they've got to mirror our conditions.
Hopefully.
I mean, we did
That's
that
the plan.
last time for
Yep.
Scanell's
Yeah.
project.
Madam Chair. So on here, our peer review, there's a question and answer response. Has everything been updated? All these questions have been answered? I mean, it seems as though they have, but you just received this today.
I received it late today, and I have not written a response letter, but I'd be glad to for the record.
Well, there's some questions on just updating the plans, just sort of a housekeeping thing in these plans. Is this it's happening soon?
I did go through the revised plan that came in late today, and I did see that their plan revisions did address my original comments.
Good.
I just haven't put it in writing yet. Yep.
But we know it's forthcoming, so.
I'd be glad to write a letter for the record to clarify.
Good.
It. Yep.
Yep.
Anyone else on the board, questions, concerns?
Hammered it out pretty good.
Yeah.
Ms. Schlesman?
I do not.
Okay, board. Anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns regarding this hearing?
Sure. If you don't mind, John Federico with Gerrier and Helmond. Sorry I couldn't make it in person today. I do just want to add to kind of help clarify a few things. There was an additional comment from the board where they were looking to have the approved roadway shown on the plan. I did make sure that that was also incorporated into both plan sets. And if the board would like me to go through any of the comments from Mr. Walsh, I do have a couple of PDFs up in front of me that I can do a screen share and briefly go through those and highlight exactly where those changes had occurred. If not, we can make sure that we do get you over any sort of hard copies that would be needed either tomorrow or first thing on Monday.
What is the final revised plan date?
The final revision date would be 7/28, stamped also on 7/28.
Or does anyone want to see that?
No. It's in play.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else in the audience? Questions or concerns? Seeing none? I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Marks.
Second.
Second by Mr. Coco. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll.
Do you want roll call? Aaron Sokrat, aye?
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Zwicker, aye.
Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Meg Schlesman, aye.
Okay, thank you. I will entertain a motion to grant the earth removal permit for 1 Lucky Down Road with conditions.
I'd like to, if I may, make that motion to approve the earth removal permit as indicated in what's before us here,
With a condition.
and the conditions before us.
Motion made by Mr. Sokrat,
Second.
second by Mr. Marks. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Zwicker, aye.
Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Meg Schlesman, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you
Very
very
much.
much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good evening.
time, 7:17, 7:05 PM, public hearing, National Grid application for Scenic Road Special Permit, Oak Street, possible votes.
I'm recusing myself on this
Okay,
one.
in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 15C, and the Town of Douglas Scenic Road Bylaw, Article 5, Section 6 of the Douglas General Bylaws, the Douglas Planning Board is holding a public hearing on the application of National Grid Electric for a special permit to upgrade overhead conductors and relocating 24 poles. The work will take place on Oak Street from pole 5 at the Sutton Douglas Town line to pole 20 at approximately 45 Oak Street. Public hearing is being held on Thursday, July 28th, 2022 at 7:05 PM in the resource room, 29 Depot Street, Municipal Center, Douglas, Mass. Any person interested in or wishing to be heard should appear at time and place designated. Visit douglas-ma.gov for agenda and Zoom information. A copy of the application is available for review during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. 01516. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. Sokrat,
Second.
second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Aye. Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye. Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Meg Schlesman, aye.
Madam Chair, for the record, I filed a disclosure for this item with the town clerk.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, who is presenting on behalf of National Grid? Name and address, please.
My name is John Gifford. I am at 17 Cliff Road, Waynesville, Mass.
Hi.
My name is John Gifford. I work for Power Engineers. We are the engineering consultant for National Grid. I do have a presentation here. I was asked to throw something together for.
Yeah, do you want to
Should I
log on
share?
to the Zoom?
I'm already logged on.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, go for it.
Who are you, do you see yourself up here?
yep.
The trees?
The autumn trees.
So if you do,
If we don't get rain, that's what we're going to see.
Yeah. Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
So we met last week here. I was asked to put a little presentation together just to explain what's going on. It sounds like you have a pretty good idea. The work on Oak Street is from the town line to pole 20, which is pole 5 through pole 20. Upgrades are necessary to serve the Blue Wave project at 45 Oak Street. As you mentioned, we're installing 24 poles. All poles will be 45 feet tall. They'll be 45 feet. They'll be approximately 40 feet out of the ground. The existing poles that those 24 poles will be replacing are a combination of 35 and 40-foot poles, kind of split 50-50 approximately. We'll be replacing 11 anchors and installing 1 new anchor. The purpose of this is to reconductor. Right now it's single phase. We're going to be conducting a 3-phase spacer cable. I had the question earlier about how many transformers are along the road. So currently there's 5 transformers in the public way on Oak Street. 4 of them are going to be replaced. 1 is going to be removed. So there'll only be 4 after this is done. And this is along the road on the poles.
yeah, if I could just pause you for a second. So the transformer is on the pole.
Correct. Yep.
Is there an alternative for those transformers, or alternative location besides the right of way?
No.
Okay.
All of these poles are,
There's note. Yeah.
Because if that was the case, the homeowners would have to go underground and then you'd have a mounted transformer in someone's yard.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure from our director, no transformers in the right of way. I'm assuming the ground transformers. I'm
Or-
not sure where that
Or
comment.
maybe that's in regards to like the project itself.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, all right, sorry about that.
So there won't be any new transformers. There'll be a net loss of 1
Okay,
along the road. These 5 current ones are in the public way now. In addition to these 24 poles, I guess it's not relevant to the scenic road permit, but there will be 4 National Grid owned poles on the site
okay.
outside of the right of way. So this is just an overview of the project. I don't need to point out every single one, but these are the existing poles and where they're being moved to and replaced, so for reference.
Thank you.
Do have some site photos. This is looking from pole 19, which is the pole where the site taps off of. This is the new location of pole 19, looking towards, say towards the town of Sutton. Towards pole 18. This is standing on pole 18, looking down further around the corner towards pole 17, towards pole 16. These photos were taken yesterday, so this is up to date. This is the wooded area looking down towards the town line. One thing I did want to talk about is the tree trimming. National Grid's requirement for tree trimming is 10 feet above and below the primary conductor, which again is the higher voltage wires at the top of the poles, 6 feet to the sides, and that's for safety reasons and to prevent limbs from hitting the wires. So in the new with the new project, the canopy will need to be trimmed, accordingly 5 to 10 feet higher due to the taller poles.
And any dead trees, you're going to remove in their entirety?
Correct.
You won't object to that condition?
Nope. No, and I spoke to the arborist. The arborist was hoping to be here. He wasn't able to make it.
Oh, okay. You're arborist.
It's
You're
John.
arborist?
Yeah.
Okay. No.
But you had a meeting with John Furno. and
Adam.
There's Adam Furno, rather. in the
Yeah,
letters.
he wasn't here last week. He had sent someone else in his place. And then the arborist I'm referring to is National Grid's arborist.
Correct.
So yes, any dead trees that need to be trimmed will just be removed altogether. Along with, he's going to look for other trees that are diseased or dead and remove them if he thinks they're at risk of falling in the road. Trimming and removal of healthy trees will be minimized as much as possible. Any residents that need trees trimmed or removed on their property will be notified and asked to sign off on it beforehand. So, nobody's going to be surprising anyone by trimming any trees.
That's good.
Well, they're good.
Okay.
So that's what I have.
Okay. So you have a memo from Mr. Benoit. He's recommending conditions of approval, which is a little confusing. No transformers in the right-of-way. Not sure how we could do that. They're existing transformers, correct? They're being relocated?
They're either being moved to the new pole
Yeah.
or, for instance, the transformer on pole 19 that's there now is going to be removed and the customer is going to be fed from a different transformer.
So no additional transformers?
No additional.
In the right-of-way?
Correct. Yeah, that might
Any
be.
Any dead trees shall be removed in their entirety and not left along the right-of-way. I don't know if we can condition to prohibit tree clearing and pruning beyond what's necessary. I don't think that anyone wants to do more work for not more money. And then securing all necessary easements prior to work commencement. Are you going to need to secure any easements?
Some front anchors on private property.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Or any questions or concerns?
Hey, Joe, I have a couple questions, please.
Sure.
One is, what's the reasoning for dropping the number of transformers from 5 to 4?
Because
Are they
we
more efficient, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, we were able to feed the customer that's being fed from the transformer on pole 19. We were able to feed them from the next one, so they were within a reasonable distance. So instead of having an extra transformer that we didn't feel was necessary, we decided to eliminate one.
It doesn't diminish capacity or what
No.
have you? Okay. The other,
We did the loading before.
I'm sorry.
We calculated the loads before we decided.
I also believe this is a scenic road. Do we know, are there any special conditions or restrictions?
Yes, so that's why they are applying for the scenic road
Okay.
permit.
This is under the scenic road?
Yes,
This is
the
a
scenic
scenic
road
road
bylaw,
permit,
thank you.
yes. Yep, so that's why they are here.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Ms. Sushman, anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns regarding Mrs. Lozinski? Mrs. Lozinski.
All right, Charlie.
Shirley Mazinski, 60 Oak Street. The pole on my side is being moved across the street. There is a perfectly good tree where the marker is, that it's going to be moved to. And yet, just,
Could you tell them your address, please?
I did, 60 Oak
Oh,
Street.
okay, all right.
So it's pole 18.
Okay, that was gonna be my question.
Yeah. There's a perfectly good tree right where the marker is. Yet a little bit aside of that is more of an open space.
Sure. We can take a look at that, but I met with the National Grid arborist yesterday and talked about that location. He didn't think, I shouldn't commit to it, but he's going to do everything he can not to remove the trees in that location.
Okay.
He thought that would be doable.
Because we have had a lot of trees already cut down on that street.
Sure, yeah.
Some, yes, they needed to go because they were rotted inside. But to me, that looks like a perfectly good tree.
Yeah, they will, they'll assess the trees and they're going to do their best to avoid cutting down any trees that aren't necessary.
Okay. Then I have another one. You have an indication of a pole, I think it's 17. It is right in the middle of an open way in a stone wall. So if somebody, not that it's a driveway now, because there's a lot of weeds and brush, but that is an open way that someone, if they bought the field or if somebody in the family, not my family, but whoever owns the property, wanted to put in a home, they wouldn't have to go and rip down a stone wall. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
So I would request that you look at that too.
Okay.
And then, I believe
That's a good
it's
point.
pole 13, down the road, just on the bend. There was a guy wire in there that was broken, and it's in my pasture, where my cows go. Right now, they're not there. But unbeknown to me and my family, a new guy wire was put in, so, and I'm not sure if the original one has been repaired. I didn't know that. But when we went down and found it, this was left for my cows to,
So this is a new guy wire was already installed?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But yet, that's going to be, the pole is going to be replaced. The pole is outside of the fence.
Debris?
And I would request that when you do put in that pole, we're notified, because you're going to run into fencing and cows getting out.
Okay. Can I ask what that is?
Yeah, and any comments through the chair, please?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
There's several, plus some kind of a cap and some kind of a battery, a little battery or some kind of metal thing.
Okay.
I don't need,
Yeah, so I think that a condition to notify of any disturbance of fencing and. Okay.
May I ask a question through the chair?
yeah.
Excuse me, so that was sort of debris on the ground? Is that what you were saying?
In my
so
pasture.
Be careful, that's all. For all of us,
Understood.
for everyone. Yeah, that's all, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience, questions, concerns? Mr. Zwicker. Yes?
Mike Swicker, 46 Oak Street, through the chair. When they were here last time, they were stopping further up the street on the poles. Came home one night, and they marked pole 20, which is right in front of me. So, I've been trying to get a hold of National Grid. I have a claim number, been calling, I let the town know for weeks. Nobody wants to bother to call back. So, I'm trying to figure out why pole 20 all of a sudden is on the list. And then not only that, if you go to our general bylaws, go to page 36, I'm supposed to be notified about this meeting. Anybody within 100 feet of any work to be done, and my name is not on the list. I've never been notified about this public hearing. And I don't know if that's right or wrong or what the deal is with that. So whether that throws this all out the window right now because I wasn't notified or what, I'd like to find out what's going on and why the power from my house is underground, going to that pole. I've never been notified, talked to, asked any questions, nothing whatsoever about this, until I came home and I saw paint one day.
Okay.
Plus a guide wire. So if you go to our bylaw, page 36, under notice and under filing, it's under section C and notice part 2, about notification for a public hearing. And I'm not on the list.
Okay. So, let's just take a quick peek. We did that internally, and
Can I speak?
yes,
Okay. So I double checked with the assessor's office today,
yeah.
and what happened is the original plan came through where it stopped at the driveway before Mr. Zwicker's. And that's the abutters list that I received, because that, if you go from his property line to the original stop point, it's over 200 feet, so he wasn't included in that 100-foot zone. I'm not sure anything after that, but that's why he wasn't included on the list.
So was the plan revised from the date of submittal and a butters list versus today?
Yes, it was.
Do you know when the date of submittal was?
I have something June 14th, July 18th, June 14th.
That was the submittal date.
Submittal date was June 14th.
So the design hasn't changed since then, but what I'm thinking is maybe the incorrect plan got sent in, maybe the old plan got sent in, not with the scenic road permit, but for the poll petition.
But for the what?
The poll petition that we had applied for.
Do you have the plan that was submitted?
I don't.
If I may, through the chair. When we attended the selectmen's meeting, before it got all bounced back to here, pole 20 has never, ever been on print till now, ever. And the pole on my neighbor's property, that's even within 100 feet, because it's in the middle of his yard right now, not even in the middle of his yard. So I should have even been notified about that one, because I'm still within 100 feet of any work.
Okay, did you electronically submit the application?
It was mailed.
It was mailed, hard copy? I don't believe we have a copy of the plan that was submitted.
It's just this one that he has on the screen.
That was the plan that was submitted.
There's a date of 4/26 on that.
Which includes a full 20. Right. And that's stamped June 14th.
Okay.
So,
Council.
Well, so normally, I mean, I'm changing course on the fly here, but originally, how it appeared to me is that the application expanded. And so if it exceeded the scope of the original notice, I would have told you that, no, you have to renotice it. It's beyond the scope of the original notice, of course. But this plan shows pole 20, which is the one we're talking about, right? And so I don't know how the certified list from the assessors would not include a property within 100 feet of the work that's depicted on the plan that was submitted with the application. So the certified assessor's list is supposed to be presumptively correct, and you're entitled to rely on it. So we don't look past it. You know, we just draw a line on it and tell them it's 100 feet, and they give us the list. So I don't have any explanation for why it wouldn't have been included if it was shown on the plan.
If I may, through the chair, I think the reason being is they just went up to a list and didn't bother to take a look up on what new was added.
Well, and
It's the request that was submitted for the certified abutters list, which says 0-foot abutters list report, full location, part of Oak Street, which I've never seen.
0 foot?
it means only direct abutters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not what the bylaw requires. The bylaw specifically states 100 feet. So that's Article 5, Section 5, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly. 5C or one of the subsections, but I think it's Article 5, Section 5. So it should have notified anyone within 100 feet of the work depicted on the plan, whether they were in a butter or not. And so that's a defect, it sounds like. Now, that doesn't automatically mean that if this comes to a grinding halt, the applicant needs to understand that there's a defect in the notice. And you might want to ask your applicant how they want to proceed. Now, the obvious cure is just continue this to another night, renotice it. Cure. Takes it off the table. There's no question if there's going to be any kind of challenge to this.
Right, it has to be done right.
But that's the usual course when you identify something like that. Just renotice it, do it another night.
So, what would you like the board to do? Is this pressing? Are you okay to go to August 11th meeting?
I'd rather not go to August 11th meeting, but if that's, well, I guess I would look to your advice.
So, I would suggest finding the people that were not notified within the 100 feet, and notifying them of the meeting for August 11th. That would be my suggestion.
Otherwise, it's
Risk of appeal.
big chance.
Sure.
Well, and just to double down on that, if there is a challenge to it, you're right back here again, except it's not August. It's October, November, December.
Right.
Because if it is what it appears to be, a clear legal defect in the notice, a court's just going to send it right back and say, do it right. So it's sort of a chase your tail scenario.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what the request for the certified abutters list actually said either. So it's whatever the person that submitted the application requested is what was provided.
If I may,
Through the chair.
Madam Chair?
One moment, please.
Okay.
Through the chair, if you don't mind. I mean, obviously, I know what was going on because I'm on the board. The idea that kind of irks me is, why hasn't somebody contacted me where my power's on that pole and what's going to go on with that pole? Are they going to put it in the exact same spot? And I've never seen that in my life. They always move the pole next to where the original pole is so they can transfer everything. Because all that they do is transfer the power, then they have to wait for the cable company and everybody else to come in and transfer it. So it's a replacement, but it's also going to be a movement. Who's going to pay to move my underground? Nobody has contacted me whatsoever.
Okay, so if you could give him your phone number so that he can
Yeah.
contact you, or have, was someone in the audience question?
I'm
Name
from
and
National
address?
Grid. I just wanted
Yeah.
to speak to his question about the pole.
Name and address?
Michael Parent, I'm at 245 South Main Street in Hopedale. So we do replace poles in place if somebody has an underground service on it. We can't move it, we don't want to move it and have to pay to move their service. So we do have a procedure where they call it cut and kick the pole. They go in, they cut it at the base, and they pull out the butt, and they put a new pole in, and it attaches right to the existing service.
Okay.
In some
That
cases,
sounds
if they
good.
can, like, say it's on one side of the pole, and they can put it on the other side, still attach the service, they'll do that, but we definitely don't want to pay to move anybody's service, so.
I got nothing right.
Okay,
And
we're
then
gonna
what-
get you something in writing before August 11th. He says he has nothing in writing.
I got nothing
so-
that says that. I don't know what you guys are going to do, and through the chair, if I may.
Yeah,
And also,
someone
I
needs to
drive up Route-
contact you.
I drive up Route 56 every day with these big 45-foot poles. A lot of us do. There's no guide wires. Why do you need a guide wire there if you're made through the chair? And never been a guide wire there. Further down Oak Street, there's no guide wires. I know you're putting in 3-phase. That's a mute subject because on other parts of this area, there's plenty of large poles with 3-phase that don't have guide wires. There's never been one there, and Shirley agrees we're trying to keep them off the Scenic Road as much as possible, and I don't really want to see a guide wire there either. I don't want the big pole.
So that's another question, if you could answer. Yep.
So I'm just going to make this. So here's pole 20 with the new, that shows the new guide wire. The 3-phase, the single phase now just goes right through. It's a straight line, so there's no requirement for a guide wire. In the new configuration, the 3-phase will be dead ending, which means it'll be all three phases will be stopping at that point, and then the single phase will continue on. So because there's a disparity in the tension being pulled each way on the pole, we need to counter that with a guide wire facing opposite of the 3-phase. It's very common in how we design it.
Okay, if you could just double check that it's necessary. Let me just send it to the audience.
I don't see.
Anyone on Zoom, questions or concerns regarding this hearing? Name and address, please.
You want me to minimize my share? Jennifer?
Jennifer?
Yes, I actually, my address is 1 Sunset Drive, and I actually work in the assessor's office. And pole locations for National Grid have always been immediate abutters notified.
Okay, this filing was for a scenic road permit for our scenic road bylaw. Not just a pole, a new pole within the right of way.
So maybe there is some disconnect and something different that needs to be done.
Yep, that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, the bylaw calls out the 100 foot.
Okay. But I do believe that the address in question is more than 100 feet out of that area.
If I made through the chair, that's my property line.
Yeah, we got it. Yep, there's a pole that's directly in front of the butter that is questioning the list. So the applicant is willing to postpone and continue in order to make sure that everyone of interest is notified. So, no
Understood.
problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone in the else? Anyone else in the audience?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Shirley Masinski, 60 Oak Street. I just have a question for National Grid. Do you have any set distance? Because the poles that you're going to replace or put new ones, seems there are some that seem closer, and then there's others that are forever, and the wires are sagging now. I just wonder if you have any set rules.
Madam Chair, can I respond? So we do have guidelines, so they're not all consistent, but generally, we try and stay within 125, 175 feet. Some of the poles that are moving were done so because some of the existing spans were very long. And we use certain calculations to determine what's too long and what's short enough. We don't try and put them too close together because that would be a waste, but we also don't want them longer than necessary either because, like you said, the wires will sag too much. So we've taken all that into account with the new layout.
And if I may, another question. Are these poles being replaced specifically because of the solar project?
Yes.
Because the pole in front of my house that's been leaning forever, and we've tried to get it corrected, thinking it's going to be falling in the street. Now it's going to be moved across the street, but again, I do hope that tree, where it's marked, doesn't have to be cut.
So if you can look at that with your arborist and see if there's a possibility before the next hearing,
Sure.
and have that reflected on the new plan,
Yes.
the new location. Okay.
Thank you.
If I may, one more. So there are two things that are in my mind, regardless of, the transformer. One was not particularly taking down a healthy tree in front of the property. And also the one where there's an open area in the stone wall to sort of mediate it one way or the other, so the natural opening could be retained per se for future use. I mean, those are two things to take away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a look at both.
When I'm looking at the diagram, it looks as though it's to the right of the opening.
Yeah, just check.
We're looking at pole 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a field directly
There
adjacent
is,
to
yeah.
that.
Looks like there's an opening though, so
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah,
maybe
that'd be
scoot it
good.
over a little bit.
I mean, even if it's adjacent to one edge of it,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go on the wall,
Yeah, I can't imagine we would have put that there if we noticed, but.
Take a look, that's all.
Totally understand.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else on the board?
I have a couple questions. So the pole 17, there's a contention of the location of the pole based on the comments, where it is.
That's what I just, I was talking about that.
I don't want to see them, have to extend it and do a lot of more work than necessary to potentially move a pole because of down the road, someone might put a driveway in there in a property that's not ready to have a driveway. There's just poles everywhere and there's potential driveways going everywhere.
But it is a scenic
Yeah.
road and there is an established rock wall.
Yeah, so,
If
and.
they can't, they can't.
And then, are these gonna be all live reconnects, or will residents have power cut at any point in time?
That's a
Is
good
that-
question. I'm not 100% sure, but generally the line work is done live.
Okay, just because I would want, if there was to be a planned outage, the residents to be aware of it, the
Yeah,
timeframe.
there would be.
Okay.
That could be a condition also. Okay. Is that Mr. Schultzberg?
I just, one other question. I kind of know the answer, but just more for the audience. When a solar farm is put up anywhere, really, is it a standard practice and a procedure where poles need to be installed to properly have the lines, the three-phase? Like, this is a common thing that happens with all the solar
Yes.
farms that are put in everywhere.
Yes, we call it make-ready. It's very common for the existing facilities not to be able to handle the load of a new solar facility. So as far as I know of the ones in the area, it's happened on every single one.
This is like a common, I drive everywhere, and if I see poles getting replaced and they're higher, I'm like, oh, there's a solar farm that just got put in, so. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to August 11th, 2022 at 7:15 PM.
I make a motion.
So,
Motion
second.
made by Mr. Sokrat, second by Mr. Marks. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye?
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Rocco, aye. Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Meg Schlesman, aye.
Thank you very much. Next item.
Back one
7:10 PM, public hearing. Thomas Brennick, application for accessory apartment 24 Monroe Street. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, the Town of Douglas accessory apartment zoning bylaw, Section 3.3 and 9.3. The Douglas Planning Board is holding a public hearing on the application for Thomas Brennick regarding an accessory apartment special permit. The property location is 24 Monroe Street, Assessor's Map 165, Parcel 19, Douglas, Mass. The public hearing is being held on Thursday, July 28th at 7:10 PM in the Municipal Center, Resource Room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. Visit douglas-ma.gov for the agenda and new information. A copy of the application is available for review during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. 01516. Entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Solberg, second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye. Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience presenting for this?
I'm the homeowner.
I know. Why don't you come on out?
All right.
Tell us your plan.
So yeah, so we're looking to add apartment, accessory apartment, basically like off of our back way of the recent garage. Right around 900 square feet for my in-laws that live right next door.
Okay. All right. And you say right around, are we keeping it at 900? 884. Okay, perfect. Max is 900,
Oh,
unless
yeah.
you want to get a waiver.
Pushing the limits.
Yeah, no, that's good. You
Okay.
have a little bit, you have 16 more feet. Do it. So the director has reported the application meets requirements of the zoning bylaws, recommending standard conditions of approval. Everyone take a peek.
The only thing I'm seeing is signatures. Number of signatures.
And then I also am seeing, we want this to
Zoning.
start probably August or July.
But do we, is this anything, or is
No,
this like?
we're not signing a
Okay.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't sign a plan. But that's okay.
Yeah. All right.
Do you mind if I just
Just
take,
an
curious?
old plan, I don't know when this is.
Special permit plan.
Oh,
Because there's no lot lines getting moved or anything like that, so that,
They're not requesting any special permit from us. Well, accessory apartments.
Right, but this is,
Yeah.
Through the chair, how many square feet is it?
884.
Yeah.
884.
And it meets all the setbacks?
50-foot setbacks, there's 64. I mean, we're not the zoning board, so. but 51 in the rear.
It meets all
64,
the
64.
requirements of the zoning bylaw.
Okay.
This is a public hearing. Anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns regarding this hearing? Seeing none. I will entertain a motion to grant the special permit for 24 Monroe.
just before that,
Or
I just know,
close
we
the
just
public
normally
hearing.
ask meters, is it gonna be 2 separate meters, 1 meter, 1 meter?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah, I just, that, every time we've always asked, just want
Yeah,
to make
that
sure
was
it's
a good
cleared
point,
that it's 1 meter still going in.
Yep, so it's with our standard conditions.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
by Mr. Marks, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Schultzberg. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye. Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Aye. And I will entertain a motion to grant the accessory apartment special permit for 24 Monroe Street.
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Mr. Marks, seconded by Mr. Schultzberg. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye. Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Good luck. Lumber prices are down.
Madam Chair, I'm back.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Mike.
All right.
Nice to see you.
So additional business vote to amend 2022 hearing schedule August 11th, so that meeting has been added. I'll entertain a motion to amend the 2022 schedule by adding the meeting date of August 11th, 2022.
We're adding it? So we're gonna have 2 meetings next month?
Wow.
Is there a reason?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Marks,
Second.
second by Mr. Schultzberg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Zwicker, aye.
Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Thank you very much. You can participate remotely. Just let everyone know. I will be here.
Okay,
Okay, and anything else?
I just included in your packet, if I may through the chair, just everybody needs to fill out their contact information tonight and sign page 3 of their code of conduct for me to review, please.
And meeting minutes, do we want to do any of those?
What do you think, Mike? Jake was right.
Well, I don't know if people want to stay, that's all. Actually,
Ah, you got
Do it.
2 minutes. We have April 28th
yeah, hold on.
and
Oh, go ahead.
May 12th.
And 26.
And May 16.
My anniversary.
Can I start with the May 26th and work back?
Sure.
Okay, I reviewed that one, it looked fine to me, didn't have any problems. Anyone else did speak up?
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written for May 26th, 2022.
Mr. Greco?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Sokrat. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Zwicker, aye.
Abstain, I was absent.
Okay, thank you.
May 12th? Is that one on your list?
Yep.
I didn't find anything wrong there either, so if somebody speaks up, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written for May 12th, 2022.
Motion made by Mr. Greco.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marks, you were absent. Did you do the Mullen?
Did you do the mullet? She must have. You were absent
I was absent when?
that day.
May 12th.
Yes, I did do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Seconded by Mr. Marks. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Zwicker, aye.
Abstain, absent, don't remember if I did them all or not. This one.
Thank you.
There's another one here. See if I can find it. April 28th. Which I think, is that on your list to be looked at? Okay, I don't know, my copy of that thing has some, on page 1, has a couple places where names are missing. Sam's blank.
This one was revised, the one that we have in our packet.
Well, I didn't look at that. The one I had marked up was from the last time or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a missing group there. Was that added?
Give it to.
If you want to just compare the blanks.
Oh, super. They're all there, so there's no problem.
Okay,
Lovely.
super.
Beautiful.
Here you go.
I'll make a motion.
I feel a draft.
What year was that? What day was that?
April
The date on that thing?
April 20th,
28.
28th, April.
Everybody was here.
Here it is, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as modified for April 28th, 2022.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Greco, seconded by Mr. Zwicker, which these are as written in our submittal packet today. All those in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye.
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Zwicker, aye.
Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Yeah.
It was before my time.
So we have to sign
Abstain
these.
from Ms. Fleishman. Anyone else have anything to add? Mr. Zwicker?
If I can, through the chair, what's going on with Sleepy Hollow and 93 Davis Street? The two entities.
Hollow is
What-
going to be on our agenda for August 11th.
Okay. And we had requested information on, about 93 Davis, where they haven't paved, and what can and can't be done, because it's been dragging on for almost a year now.
I have a note.
Okay.
You have a conflict on this one,
As
or
we
no?
knew,
Not
we
anymore.
would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something from Mr. Benoit in there. Just no new correspondence has been received from the applicant. The board has recommended to request a determination from town council as to how to proceed with
Right.
paving.
We had requested.
If I
Yeah.
may,
Yes.
Chair, she came in the office yesterday. She's planning on meeting with Mr. Benoit next week. She would like to apply for a drive-through permit for her capital cannabis company. So,
Yeah,
there's nothing been done.
I spoke with her also, because she wants to apply for a drive-through permit, so she's holding off on the paving the whole thing until they construct the drive-through if it's approved. That was her, I asked her the question, that's how she answered it.
Yeah.
And if I can, through the chair, we've been promised, and promised the drive-through has nothing to do with asphalt whatsoever. We had a letter from her, we had everything going on, and here we are halfway through this year and still no final code. So that's why I think our town council is here to
And
help us out.
may I ask a question through the chair? Because I think I have a little memory of the discussion you had on this way back when. And wasn't the arrangement, or what was the arrangement is my question, but wasn't the arrangement that you would allow her to proceed minus certain things like this, but that she was going to put some sort of security in place if it didn't get done at a certain deadline? You put in milestones, I thought,
We did.
and that you were going to collect some sort of security to hold her true to that. Did that ever happen?
No, we were promised,
It was
Non-requested.
supposed to be the fall.
It was supposed to be-
Once everything
right.
settled.
it was supposed to be done, if I may, through the chair, on occupancy. She said she wanted to hold off till the fall, a lot of paving. We kind of said, yeah, all right. And then we were promised another date, I think in the spring, and we were told it can't be done. Then we were given a letter by a paving outfit of when it was going to be done, and it still isn't done. Here we are today, it's still not done. So we've allowed the business to operate. So we're putting in conditions and requesting things, but yet we got no power to enforce anything.
Well, this board doesn't, but Mr. Frazier does, right? I mean, he's your zoning enforcement officer, and these are conditions and requirements of a permit that haven't been complied with.
If I may, through the chair, I saw him in the office the other day, and he referred it back to, he said it's the planning board's issue, because we're the ones that put the conditions in that blacktop.
He's the enforcement officer of our conditions. We are not an enforcer. It speaks
So-
as you're here, 'cause
Right.
So
Let me
that's
jump in
why
on that.
we're
that's
trying to
why
get
it's
this.
getting very confusing when
right.
we're getting requested, this is not the first time that we're
Right.
getting requested enforcement.
Right, and I mean, I can understand why it may come back to you, because you granted the extensions, this board did. And so you moved it to the fall, and maybe he wanted some, I don't want to speak for him, but maybe he wanted some feedback in regard to what's going on, where's the board at in its feelings about whether or not this condition should be enforced now, how it should be enforced, what are we doing here?
Right.
And so that's a moving target a little bit, so I can understand why he'd want some direction. So we had a preliminary conversation, or at least I did, with Matt during our Zoom call to prepare for tonight. I didn't know that there was a meeting set up for next week. So one of the things that came out of my discussion with Matt was that they keep saying, oh, we're going to do a drive-through, so we don't want to put the pavement down until we know if that's happening or not happening. And you've heard that before, right? So you keep hearing it. So I don't know what's going to come of this meeting, but at some point, you do have, or Ken Frazier has the right to enforce through zoning. That's a condition of your approval. They can be held to it. Now, how far that goes and, when he pulls the trigger on that, that's up to him. If you, as a board, say, we've played this waiting game long enough and we would like to see some enforcement, there's nothing wrong with forming a consensus about that. You obviously can't tell them what to do and when to do it, but you can communicate that it's the will of the board, the consensus of the board, that you, in your official capacity, should take whatever action is necessary to see that that's done in a timely manner. And leave it at that. The rest is up to him. You can't write a zoning enforcement notice. You can't pull an occupancy permit. You can't issue a cease and desist. So you can express the will and desire, but this isn't the board that does it.
Yes, through the chair. I am not in favor of at all putting any kind of cease or desist order on any business because there's not a little bit of paving done. I think we should request that she come in or she submit a request for an extension since she's gone past the deadline that she gave us. That would set things in order and then give us another deadline or let us know what her plans are in writing so because this is just voice communication that we're having back and forth. If she's missed the deadline, then submit something saying why she missed the deadline and if in the future, if that's the reason she wants to do some further construction, which originally the plans did come in with a drive-through, I believe, anyway. So I've been in the parking lot, I checked it out, it's in fine shape. It isn't finished, though. It's no top coat on it yet, and that needs to be addressed. But as far as cease and desist go, I'm not in any way in favor of putting a cease and desist on a business because it hasn't met a deadline about paving its driveway.
And if I may, through Madam Chair as well, I don't see this as a structural safety, OSHA concern, the doors don't unlock in a fire condition, safety issues. I mean, this is a finish.
I'm not sure if there's trip hazards, handicap accessibility.
But
and
it looks like it's, I've been over there. It looks pretty good. I mean, the thing is, if there's tripping issues and other hazardous situations, that's something else. But if there isn't that, and Ken Frazier would be the one.
Yeah, Mr. Frazier already told us in his preliminary evaluation of why he wanted it paved.
And if I may, through the chair, I understand what Mr. Marks wants. We've already been given a letter saying when it's going to be done, and it's not still done. So I don't know how much more mud we can have thrown in our faces here. I don't want to do a cease and desist or whatever, but this is starting, I think, becoming a joke where we're having businesses come in, we're putting down guidelines of what's supposed to be done, and they're telling us how it's going to be handled. And it's wrong, because it's just going to escalate further and further and further. So there needs to become a point when we say enough is enough. This is the third time we've had letters, she's been in front of us, we've had everything going on. And still, it's thrown back in our face. And here we are with the
Can there
dilemma.
be fines that are nominal that set a tenor? $100
I
a
don't
day
think
or
we
something?
need
Is that
fines.
anything?
I don't think we need a cease and desist. I think it's a request to finish the paving before they come in front of us for another permit.
There you go. I'm fine with that.
So
I
let
mean,
them know.
as a consensus.
It's okay.
There's something that says what the plans are so that we know, and we have something in writing saying this is the reason it hasn't been done yet. I'm not up for fines or cease and
No,
desist or anything. I just
I'm
want
not
to
either.
get some paperwork together saying the reason it hasn't been done, and we plan on doing some further construction, we'd like to do it all at the same time, and I'm happy with that.
So if I may, through the chair, Madam Chair, at what point do we say enough's enough? 4 years down the road? 5 years down the road? We're going to go 6 years and just say it doesn't matter?
Through the chair, I'm looking at it as a growing business. It came in, it got there, and now it's expanding. And like I said, yes, missed the deadline, but we need something in writing saying why we missed the deadline, why she missed the deadline, or why they missed the deadline, and what the future plans are.
If I may, why is it the only business in town that's doing it?
I'd rather work with the business than
Okay, let me just.
Put
go
restrictions on
along.
it.
So, do we want, I guess we need to think about, do we want to send a memo
Yes.
to Mr. Frazier recommending, because they've missed the deadline to the extensions that we're giving them, by consensus, what are we requesting him to do?
Sending a letter and a plan has to be in place before they come in here August 11th for some sort of deadlines and time schedules and
Well, it won't be
I did-
August 11th, but,
whenever they get in for their next, there should
Okay.
be.
If I may through the council, are we allowed to do that? Can we prevent further expansion of a business where they haven't finished already an approved plan?
You can't stop them from applying. They have a right under the zoning act to apply
Okay.
for additional relief. Now, what happens when that gets in front of you is a different story. You're going to have some questions.
yeah, and we would request that the paving be done before whatever. There would be a conditional
Is that a
before the grant of the building permit.
Would that be a reasonable, would that be a legal thing that we can do or not?
Well, we're getting ahead of the game here a little bit.
Right.
I mean, take it one step at a time. I mean, if you haven't even gotten to what kind of direction or instruction you'd like to pass on to Mr. Frazier, he's going to make a decision, I don't know what it will be, and do something in response. And whether or not that precipitates a visit by the applicant to this board before they apply for anything, just to come discuss this matter, or whether or not the next thing you see is an application. But either way, you get a forum potentially to ask those questions. And, generally speaking, there's nothing illegal about asking questions. I say generally because there certainly are illegal questions. But we're not going there.
No.
Right.
Okay.
I'd like to maybe at least, at a minimum, see if the enforcement officer can go to the site, investigate, and get a report to us as to what hazards there are current without the, if there is tripping hazards, if the grade isn't right for ADA compliance, at least have something, and then maybe request her to come in. If we can have a list of what he's saying is there, have her come in. And it's a tough one, but I haven't been to the site in a while, so I don't know what's going on with the catch basins or anything like that. So if there is violations and it's not up to code and up to what we approved, then that's an issue.
Ms.
Through the chair.
Schlesman?
I don't think there's
Any
any
comments?
violations. I don't think there's any violations. It's just a deadline that hasn't been met. And we just need something to
One second.
ensure us that the deadline will be met and what else is going on.
Okay. Let me see.
I was just going to say that I'm not sure that I understand if they are requesting an additional drive-through to be built. Does it make sense for them to pave prior to that drive-through, or will additional paving have to be done as part of that drive-through application? I'm unsure as to what they're asking to do.
We don't know either, because we do not have the application. But I would say that the majority of the portion of the area could be paved without redoing
I've seen construction
pavement
happen
and then
Right.
cut
over
it.
finished
Yeah.
grade.
If I may, it could be transitioned to where not do the paving.
So they,
In that area.
the applicant needs to come up with this, so
They need it, we don't.
are you pretty clear on what we're requesting for Mr. Frazier?
Well, yes, and Mr. Frazier can watch the video himself and hear it firsthand.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
one way or another, the message will get conveyed.
Okay, all right. Anything else? Mrs. Lawrence, are you here for any item?
Oh, thank you. I actually came in a little late and I saw that there was something on Shore Road, and I guess I missed it.
It was just re-subdividing of the property, so there was no additional lots created. That was, probably across, but there was no additional lots made. 2 lots and 1 unbuildable. And the drainage easements were eliminated.
Okay, yeah, be interested to know which one was considered unbuildable, and I guess I could come and find that information or watch the video. I didn't mean to interrupt your meeting, but yeah, I was curious.
So if you recall the Lakewood Drive, which actually, now that I'm looking at this, I believe that's dissolved, this subdivision. So I don't know why this is on here. But it was a rear lot. I think we probably should hold off on this.
What do you mean dissolved?
We
You rescinded it?
Yes,
But it was already recorded?
yes.
So, I mean, once it was recorded, that's the
But we
baseline.
rescinded it after and they recorded a new plan.
They recorded a new
It
plan.
Removed, yeah.
Okay.
So this, I think we should double check that before we sign it. I don't think it's accurately showing. Because it has no frontage for the solar array.
It was an original lot from the original subdivision, right?
Right, so Lakewood Drive is shown on here, but we rescinded that subdivision. And they recorded a plan in order to do the solar farm. So that's not accurately shown
Lakewood.
on this plan.
I'm not sure.
The assessor's map is correct. Okay, anyone else?
That was-
No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Schultzberg,
Second.
second by Mr. Greco. All in favor?
Aaron Sokrat, aye?
Ernie Mac's aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mike Zwicker, aye?
Jake Schultzberg, aye.
Irish last night.
Thank you very much.